Well, hello, and we are back for the fall for Stories of Great Christians. This one's an interesting one, a little bit different. It is a 5-week lecture or study from R.G. LeTourneau. Now, many of you might not know who R.G. is. We're going to find out who he is. He succeeded in merging two ideologies which many thought were just incompatible, incomparable, impossible. When he says, you can't lend money. So he merged American capitalism with Christianity. Interesting. He was a great businessman. He was worth several millions of dollars, but that's not where his story begins or ends. He gave 98% of his money and income to the Lord. He only lived off 2%. That's pretty impressive. Can any of you guys do that? I know I can't. So I definitely need to listen. He quit school when he was 14, and in his early 30s, his pastor challenged him to become the head of a large manufacturing corporation, and lo and behold, he became the founder of LeTourneau College in Texas. Let's take a listen to his story. I think it'll be an interesting one for you. And until then, we'll begin with Stories of Great Christians. Let's see if we can get there.
Stories of Great Christians. From the Department of Broadcasting of the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago, we bring you Chapter 1 of Mover of Men and Mountains, the story of Robert Gilmore LeTourneau. I understand we're going to be visiting together for the next few days. I'm R.G. LeTourneau. I'm responsible for a lot of that road building equipment you've seen around the country, those yellow scrapers and rooters and bulldozers. If the name LeTourneau sounds familiar, maybe that's where you saw it. I'm kind of nervous about all this. The Lord has allowed me to speak to lots of people over these past years, but I never was much for public speaking. I'm the sort of fellow who feels that if a thing goes without saying, let it. Yep, I'm just a mechanic whom the Lord has blessed. I was born in Vermont in 1888. The old-timers allowed it was the worst winter they could ever remember, which is probably the reason my father went south and west after I was born, looking for sunshine and more pleasant place to live. We were a family of 8, 5 boys and 3 girls. I was model number 5. I may have been the straw that broke the camel's back. At any rate, my dad packed my mother and all of us kids and shipped us off to her parents, while he and Robert Gilmore looked for the sunshine. Robert Gilmore was his best friend. I was named for it. And my mother didn't see my father or Mr. Gilmore until 2 years later, in 1890, when all of us were reunited in Duluth. Duluth, Minnesota. That's where you say you have 9 months of winter and 3 months of tough sledding.
Coffee's good, Elizabeth, and hot.
Caleb, I'm sure I'll never fully understand you.
Elizabeth, I went searching for a better home. And isn't this a fine house? Built it myself. A man can take pride in what he does with his hands. Besides, I'm a contractor now.
And you've been restless ever since. You have a responsibility to your family,
Yes,
too.
you're right, I have been restless. I'll do better now. This will be a good place to live, you'll see. Ah, may I have another cup of coffee? Something to fight the chill.
Oh.
father's full name was Caleb Thucydides LeTourneau. How's that for a moniker? And his father had wanted him to become a preacher. Grandfather had been a preacher himself. He was a Huguenot who left Lyon, France to serve as a missionary in Quebec. Because of illness, he later emigrated from Canada to Vermont. There were preachers on my mother's side, too, the Scottish Presbyterians, the Lormers, and the Martins. But while we're on the subject of church, I might as well mention that our family attended a fellowship of the Plymouth Brethren. Much later in my life, I would join the Christian and Missionary Alliance. But I'm way ahead of my story. I guess you might say I was something of a problem child. Maybe I took after my dad. I sure was as restless as he was, and he and I didn't get along too well.
Bob, what in the world are you doing, climbing up that stack of shingles?
I'm exploring.
Someday you'll become another David Livingston. How about doing some work around here, like chopping some wood for the stove? I'll be back in a bit to see how you're doing. Bob! Bob, do you hear me?
Yeah, Dad.
What are you chopping? Bob, these aren't logs for firewood. These are my new fence posts.
They sure chop easy.
Forget the chopping. Go haul some water to the kitchen.
It's not my turn.
Well, whose turn is it?
It's Bill's turn. I keep count.
You keep count. Well, it's a pity you can't count that well in school. Now, get busy on drawing the water.
It's not fair, Dad.
Get the water.
Caleb, I can't finish cooking supper until I have more water.
Bob brought it in, didn't he?
No one has brought me any water all day.
Bob!
Yes, Dad?
Didn't I tell you to bring in the water?
Yes, sir, you did.
Well, your mother says it hasn't arrived from the well.
Yes, sir.
What do you mean, yes, sir?
The well is dry, Dad.
Dry? That's a spring-fed well. It's never been dry. Holds at least 12 barrels of water.
Have a look, Dad. It's dry.
Well, I don't believe it.
Oh, Caleb, if Bob says it's dry, it's dry. Bob does a lot of things, but he doesn't lie.
And I am going to have a look.
Dad had his look, and I hadn't lied. The well was dry. Granted, it was a rather strange happenstance. Then, the next morning at breakfast...
Funny thing about that well this morning, Bob.
What do you mean, sir?
I mean, it's full, right up to where the water usually tops off. Filled up during the night, Bob.
That's funny.
Funny. Bob, I know what happened.
Sir?
We have a very moist garden now behind the barn. It hasn't rained for a week. Bob, you empty that well.
Dad,
Don't lie. Your mother's right about one thing. You do a lot of things, but you don't lie. Don't start now.
Yes, sir. Why are you laughing, Dad?
The way you get out of work. instead of carrying 4 buckets of water to your mother in the kitchen, you must have spent 4 hours carrying 12 barrels of water from the well to the garden back of the barn. Oh, Bob, I don't know what we're going to do with you.
I was a mess. Giving myself the best marks, you might say I was inquisitive, energetic, and determined. But I was sure destructive at times, and stubborn as a mule. I took over the paper route for my 2 older brothers, Harold and Bill. They'd kept it going for 3 years without a complaint. I lost it in 8 months through daydreaming, throwing papers to the wrong houses, or not throwing them at all. My father wanted me to keep busy, so he said he'd pay me 1/4 cent for every stick of wood I split, which had been my pay for throwing each newspaper. I liked the idea, and I chopped up a store. I was able to buy a .22 rifle. It just about broke my dad, even though he kept his side of the bargain. About that time, I built my first piece of earth-moving equipment. Well, really, it was a kind of a snowplow. I figured it'd save me some time doing the chore I didn't much enjoy. And I hitched the contraption to a heifer. I never did find out if it would have worked, since the heifer kicked my invention to smithereens. And then there was that time that I dove into Lake Superior. I was showing off. And I saw the rock I was going to hit as I was diving. Water in Lake Superior is 50 degrees when it's warm. Maybe that shock kept me alive. Took 16 stitches to sew up my head. I hadn't been doing too well in school, as you may have gathered. However, in the 5th grade, I learned how to read. Let me explain that. I discovered there in the 5th grade that reading was more than words. I discovered that there were sentences and paragraphs. And I really made up for lost time. My teacher couldn't believe the progress I made. Then she had to go and promote me to the 7th grade, letting me skip 6th grade. That was a mistake. I wasn't that good a student, and I sure couldn't keep up with 7th grade work. So I took another kind of dive. My grades slipped downward. I was unhappy. My parents were unhappy. I decided the time had come for me to leave home. I was 13 years old. I didn't travel far, but I camped out and thought the woods were full of wolves. Next morning, I was hungry, naturally, but I wasn't about to head back home. Instead, I realized I was only about a mile away from Mrs. Spagmo's house. She was a widow lady, a Swedish, and I had done chores for her from time to time. I figured that she'd give me some breakfast.
These sure are good pancakes, Mrs. Spagmo.
Would you like some more, Bob?
No, ma'am. I'm full up to here. I'll go milk your cow to pay for my breakfast.
You're running away from home, aren't you? I'm a pretty good guesser. Where would you be going?
To 2 harbors. I figure I can get a job as a cabin boy on one of the ore boats.
How would you like to earn $1 before you go?
A whole $1? Sure.
They've got to go to town. You can hitch my horse, feed the chickens, and dig up my potatoes.
Sure thing, Mrs. Spagmo.
Mrs. Spagmo took a long time going and coming. I now know that she stopped by to talk to my folks. They finally agreed it might be best for me to work as a hired hand for a while in somebody else's household. And Mrs. Spagmo sure laid down the law.
There were no dumb Swedes in my family. And I won't have one now, even if he does have a French name.
I worked harder than I had ever worked before. My day was scheduled from morning to night, and of course I still had to go to school. The difference being, I now had further to walk. Still, I was getting paid for my work, and it seemed like a pretty good arrangement. Except that I was lonely and missed my family. I got to see them at Thanksgiving at my Uncle Emmanuel's house when the blizzard set in. My dad left to take care of his stock, and I volunteered to walk with him. This plowing through snow on foot was rough going and dangerous in a way. We'd each fallen down, slip as we tried to get up, and laugh as though this were the funniest thing we'd ever seen.
I've got to go on to Mrs. Spagmo's, Dad.
It's another mile, son, and I think she's probably taken care of her stock by now.
Probably.
So why don't you stop here? There'll be only the 2 of us.
Can I help you with the stock, Dad?
Sure. Want to? I brought in some firewood. Over here, Bob.
I remember where to put it.
Here's some hot milk. And I'm making pancakes. And some bacon.
I never knew my dad was such a good cook. In fact, suddenly I was learning lots of new things about him.
Maybe my chopping the wood will pay for my breakfast.
No need for you to pay for anything, Bob. You know that. Son, it's just nice to see you here at our table.
Dad, I'm sorry. Running away wasn't right.
No, don't say another word. I know what you've been going through, and Well, I've been going through it myself. So, we've been wrong, both of us. Oh, now eat hearty.
That was quite a lesson, and I haven't forgotten it. Discovering my father's love changed my whole attitude. The chores I'd hated and fought against, I now did cheerfully, because I wanted to serve him. It's like that, only more so when you discover the Lord. If you aren't serving him now, it's because you don't know him. Like I didn't really know my own father. But when you do know him, you love him. And when you love him, you'll serve him. You find the greatest happiness in doing so that you will ever know. And so we conclude Chapter 1 of Mover of Men and Mountains, the story of R.G. LeTourneau. This is another in the series of Stories of Great Christians, produced by the Department of Broadcasting of the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago.
And that was Chapter 1 of R.G. LeTourneau, Stories of Great Christians. Tune in tomorrow for Chapter 2. Thanks for joining us.